everybody. This is John Marola from Keeping It Real Section 5 Football, and this is our 32nd episode, which I just got done saying to my two partners over here. I can't believe we have that much in the books already, but we do. First of all, I'd like to introduce both my co-hosts. On my far right, he's been absent for a couple of weeks, Section 5 Hall of Fame coach Paul Brigandi. Paul, welcome back.
Well, thank you, John. And Dave, I'm glad to be back.
Nice to see
I'm
you.
glad you guys held the fort. It looks like everything is going well, and we're getting more and more subscribers, more and more views. So keep up the good work, and I'm looking forward to our episode tonight.
And our man right beside me in the middle, Section 5 Hall of Fame football and baseball coach, Dave Landing. Coach?
John, thanks.
All right.
Welcome back, Paul.
Dave.
Now, this episode right here, I have Cam Freeman is on the part before us right now. What happened was I got a hold of him. They had practice Sunday night, so I went up to Irondequoit Sunday night to get him on. This week, we had co-winners, which we've never had before. Not that we've been doing this a long time, but we have two co-winners. And one I went up to do Sunday, Cam, and the other one was our Week 6 winner, Ben Newman from East Rochester, Gananda. We'll get into both of their. I mean, when you hear the numbers off these two young men, I mean, they had phenomenal.
Outstanding weeks.
Yes. So, we ready?
Let's go.
Okay.
Let's talk about some of last week's games.
Yes, sir.
And there were some good ones for sure. I want to start out with Avon, who goes to 7-0, 39-14 winners over Attica. Avon hasn't really been tested yet as we approach the sectionals. Wes Farley for Avon, 19 rushes for 238 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 10 tackles on the other side of the ball.
Wow.
Farley's been having a good year right along. He and a young man named Caldogas are sort of a 1-2 punch for them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure who Avon has this week, but they got a chance to go 8-0 and be a number 1 seed. Here's an interesting game. I don't know a lot about this one, but all I know is that Penyan, who's 6-1 now, hung 71 points on the board.
Wow.
They beat Marcus Whitman Bloomfield 71-13. I don't know who scored or how many, but that's a lot of points in a high school football game.
It is.
A big one, Aquinas hung 50 on Rush Henrietta. They won 50-24. Aquinas goes to 5-2 on the year. Trent Buttles continues his outstanding year, 214 passing, 3 touchdowns in the air for him. And Darian Battle, 145 rushing, 2 touchdowns. Jeff Logan chipped in with 101 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. And Lucas Leone continues his fine defensive play with 11 tackles, 3 for a loss, and a fumble recovery.
Wow, he had a great game.
He's having an outstanding year defensively. An interesting score, I thought, in this next one. Hilton, who goes to 5-2, beats Penfield 7-6.
Yeah.
I think they blocked an extra point.
Yeah, that's not a baseball score. That was a football score, 7-6. Kyle Serow blocked an extra point for the win. And Braden Pike chipped in with 10 tackles for Hilton. So a defensive struggle for sure. Now, Penfield can run the football, so Hilton defended them pretty well. McQuaid bounces back from a loss to UPrep. They go 6-1 with a 35-13 win over Pittsford. It's a nice comeback win for them. Will DeMarco continues his outstanding play, 10 for 15 as their quarterback, 156 yards in the air, 2 touchdowns. Thomas Bailey with 10 tackles. McQuaid's got a big one this week with Fairport.
Right?
Yes, sir.
It could be for the number 1 seed.
It should be. We'll talk about that in a little bit. UPrep. Now, UPrep is an interesting ball club.
We were at that one.
Yeah, they started out the season with a couple of losses.
0-2.
0-2. They're now 4-3, and in consecutive weeks they've beaten unbeaten teams.
Yep.
Last week McQuaid, and this past week a 20-7 victory over Fairport. to give the Red Raiders their first loss.
Very impressive victories.
But the score was a lot closer than
It was
the
a
20.
close ball game.
Yep.
UPrep ran either a bad snap or a muffed snap on a punt, back for a touchdown, a long touchdown, sort of a backbreaker. That put him up 2 scores. C.J. Robinson continued his good play as a running back with 136 yards rushing and a touchdown. Kashmir Williams had 9.5 tackles for UPrep. So they're coming around now as we approach sectionals, and I'm just not sure anybody wants to play them.
Right there, a dangerous team.
Yep. Nobody wants a piece of them right now. They're healthy. Actually, after the McQuaid game last week with UPrep, I caught CJ after the game, and I said, "How you feeling?" He's like, "Coach, I feel great." And I was like, "Great for you, bad for everybody."
Look out!
Bad
Look
news
out!
for the rest of the league.
Yeah, because he's one hell of a player.
Yeah. Monroe with a big win, 48-2 over Greece Athena. Monroe goes to 5-2, and that's another dangerous club as we approach sectionals. Pootie Cunningham, over 300 yards passing and 4 touchdowns. Messiah Hampton, 6 receptions for over 100 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception on the defensive side and a punt return for a touchdown. So Hampton continues his outstanding play. He's scored every week now through the air or on a return. Jermaine Montgomery, 15 tackles.
Wow.
For Monroe, 4 for a loss. So that's a day's work for sure.
Yes, sir.
And then one more I want to comment on, and that's the Eastridge over Honey Eye Falls Lima, 24-17, 3 overtimes.
Wow.
3 overtimes. Eastridge with a 4th and goal in overtime to stop Honey Eye Falls as they were going in for the winner, or at least a tie. And Benny Calixto, a touchdown pass to Dwayne Collins for the win. Troy Calkins, 2 interceptions for Eastridge. So those are some of last week's games I thought were worth mentioning.
I have some of the games for this upcoming week that I think of obviously of importance for the sectional seating and so on. Got Canandaigua at East High, and Canandaigua has an opportunity to be an undefeated team, possibly the number 1 seed in that class. Them and Brighton, I believe, are both there. East, again, had a tough defeat this year. That week they traveled to Washington, D.C., played a 10-time state champion from that state, Maryland. And then, but East lost, which were to the number 1 team in New York State, CBA, and both were out-of-state teams.
I think East is sitting at number 4 right now.
Right, and so we'll see how everything plays out. You mentioned Aquinas Hilton will be a big game, both with 2 losses, I believe.
Yes.
Those 2 teams. So
one at 5-2.
Right, where they move up in the thing. We said Fairport McQuaid. Probably for that number 1 seed, right, in the AA?
That should be. Yeah, it's at McQuaid. Expect a big crowd over there. And
Friday at 7 p.m.
Yeah, Friday at 7.
You got what I would consider almost like a play-in game, Webster Schrader versus Webster Thomas.
Yes.
And the winner of that will definitely make the sectionals. The loser, it will be in jeopardy.
They're both 4 and 3 going in.
And so,
not to mention that, the sectional points, but for bragging rights, too.
Oh, well, that's the one.
That's a rivalry game.
One that they want to have all year. So, that's really big. You got, again, Brighton has an opportunity to finish the season undefeated. They play at Victor Friday night in there. And Irondequoit will host Gates Chili. And again, Irondequoit has an opportunity to be a 1-loss team, but could be anywhere from a 2 or a 3 seed, depending on how the points work out.
Brighton and Canandaigua.
Right, as the 1 and 2 in the A Class A's if they both win out, and that. And some of the smaller ones, I think the ER Gananda Leroy Kelmum game will be, a big game on both sides with that. And so those are the Friday night games. And on Saturday, again, you have Eastridge playing up a class. We're going to play Monroe.
Yep.
In there, Athena Wilson. Athena has an opportunity to have maybe 4 wins with a win over Wilson. Looking at anybody else that, but a lot of that will dictate. And then you have so many more of the independents that will be playing not only next week but the following week till they conclude their season and get into their own little playoffs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Just want to build on that a little bit, Paul. We're down to 6 undefeated teams now in Section 5.
I think last week there was 9.
Yeah. We're down to 6 now. Nobody in Double A.
No.
McQuaid and Fairport both 6-1, but no undefeateds. Canandaigua and Brighton in A.
Yeah.
Both 7-0.
Yep.
It's hanging in there with East and Irondequoit and Monroe right on their heels. Batavia in Class B has been the class all year. They're still 7-0.
Yep.
Nobody's been able to handle Batavia yet. Nobody in the Class C, although Gananda now was ripped off, 5 or 6 straight wins.
Yes, they
Looks
have.
like the team to beat. Letchworth, Warsaw Perry is at 5-1. So they're hanging in there in the D. Class D, Avon still undefeated at 7-0. Alexander a game back at 6-1. Avon beat Alexander earlier in the year.
Rematch.
Yeah, down the road maybe, but they're undefeated. In the Indies, Penyan Dundee 6-0, and Pembroke in the 8-man 6-0. So that's who's left undefeated.
Pembroke was the one that actually won
states last year.
as far as that and now this year they'll probably carry it all the way out, right? Did
Yep.
they go to a Western Regional and then?
Yeah, I think they go the whole distance this year.
Yeah, yes. So.
A couple of those teams were just our 2 player of the weeks this week. I'd like to touch on that right now. The one was Cam Freeman from Irondequoit. I just want to throw out his stats right now. He had 16 carries for 260 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he had an 80-yard pick six.
Yeah.
Well,
and he had 10 tackles. Oh, by the way.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, just a great football player, and I think Irondequoit's he's going to have to put him on his back as we start getting into late season now. It looks like he is taking over.
And our other one, player, like I said, we had Cole was our player of the week last week. Ben Newman from East Rochester. I believe he threw for 379 last week. Well, he came back this week and threw for 331. Wow. And 5 touchdowns.
5 touchdowns. Wow.
So he's thrown for over 700, close to 700 yards in 2 games.
Both of those guys are very deserving of player of the week honors.
No question. Throw out a couple of notables, John, from last week, too, performances.
Yes.
Gavin Parks from Brighton, who's a former player of the week. He is getting it done all year. Over 200 yards rushing again for Brighton in their 41-21 win over Spencerport. The Bruins are 7-0, and Parks has been a man for them. For Batavia, the Buckholz boys.
Yes, the boys, the Buckholz.
Staying after it, Bronx Buckholz, their quarterback, 128 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Also rushed for 54 yards and 2 touchdowns. Maggio Buckholz, 14 tackles.
Wow.
Batavia goes to 7-0. Wow. Young man named Cooper Warner, 35-yard field goal with 14 seconds left to secure a 9-8 win for Geneseo Mount Morris over Canisteo Greenwood. So that's a clutch field goal for that guy.
Yes, it is.
I'm sure he's made a few others, but that's a big one. We mentioned Newman from Gananda, a couple of other Bombers. Bryce Panzarella, 7 tackles. Noah Mather, 163 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns in their 42-20 win over Lions Sodas. So Newman last week threw to a couple other guys, and this week Mather 3 touchdown receptions. So he's got a stable of receivers.
Yes, they do. Yes,
kind of almost like Josh Allen with the Bills receivers.
Spread it around.
Spread it around. Spread the love.
Keep them all happy.
Yep.
Wayne's Brody Newmeyer was 15 for 18 for 302 yards, and Wayne's 5th straight win over Greece Olympia Odyssey 34-33. So they needed everything that he had. Kingston Ward from Alexander, a 92-yard kickoff return for a touchdown and a rushing TD, and their 47-14 win over Oakfield, Alabama. Elba. Those were some notables that I caught my eye.
Good.
I got a couple things to bring up, some announcements, and I want to start a discussion on one of the topics that I saw in the Democrat and Chronicle today.
Okay.
First of all, I wanted to talk about the National Football Foundation banquet, and that'll be December 8th, and this will be at the RIT Conference and Inn. And already at the high school level, boys high school level football, there's been 67 nominees for scholarship monies, and I believe they've raised over $23,000 in scholarship monies. The flag football, which we touched on earlier in the year, they had 35 nominations for scholarship money. So between both the boys and girls, you have over 100 kids that
That's awesome.
and there was 21 cheerleaders that are up for scholarship things.
Now, is that banquet open to anyone who wants to attend?
Anyone who wants to come, it's the National Football Foundation, and if you Google it, it's the biggest football organization in the country, and it's really what this Western New York chapter does is the coaches, the head coach or some administrator from the school will nominate someone who has a B average or better. They are not only a good athlete on the field, they do community service, character, student athlete, and then they are put in a pool, and you look at the nominations, and there are $500 scholarships, $250 scholarships.
Nice.
It's broken up into what they call a gold and a silver, and depending on how many fill our gold recipients would be the $500 scholarship, and the silvers would be the $250. Awarded to the students.
We often forget about what these young people do off the field. The coaches involved with all sorts of community service, and that's all sports, not just football. But these people are to be applauded.
Absolutely,
they go above and beyond just what they do on the field or the court.
And absolutely, and it's a great, it's a great program, and we'd like to see more and more, and we're getting more and more nominations each year. The second one is, and John, I know you're going to go this weekend. You're going to Massillon, Ohio, to watch home. Massillon versus Canton McKinley, and it's probably the biggest rivalry in the country, high school rivalry. You're talking a high school football game that has 20,000 plus people at the game, and maybe you want to talk a little bit about that rivalry and what football's all about.
We can go on and on about the Canton McKinley Massillon. The biggest thing that I tell people is the game is the only high school game in America you can go to Vegas and get odds on it. So if you can do that legally and get I'm bringing the camera. I'm going to be at our friend Dave's house, good friend of ours, and I'm just going to tape a little bit of down there and let people see really what it's all about, because, like I said, it's 4 hours and 15 minutes from my house. And, I mean, it's all throughway. And, Paul, you've been down a couple times. And
it's a great
Coach,
experience. I think everybody who's a high school football fan, put it on your bucket list.
Yeah. They have 3 stores that sell Massillon football gear only, year-round.
Yeah.
They have enough people coming in to sell year-round.
Their indoor practice facility is bigger than the Cincinnati Bengals indoor practice facility, I think.
Their whole thing, their whole setup.
Just first-class operation.
I'm going to try to tape as much as I can. I'm sure Coach Moore, great guy. I'll see if I get down on the field for a little bit, do some game stuff down there. And just go down. I just love it down there, and I miss those people. And Tom, our buddy Tom Rivera, and Dave, and just really.
I'm sure you're going to have some good stories, some good videos from that trip. So we're looking forward to seeing those.
Yes.
And that. And the last thing I saw, I was looking at on the website, the Democrat and Chronicle today, and they had something greatest game of all time, football. They were talking about a football game, a 1981 Cal Mum versus Leroy game. And I wanted to ask, I guess that is always subject to opinion.
Yes.
But what was the greatest game, John, you had been in as a coach? And same thing, question to you, Dave, that you remember back, and tell us a little bit about that game itself.
There's like two, but the one that really sticks out is the 1 year at Aquinas we made it to the state semis, and we were playing CBA, and Ron Pellis was the quarterback.
Yeah.
And so all us coaches were up at Aquinas, and we're up on the whiteboard and just trying to figure out. So I can't believe I'm going to say this, but it was just. So, anyways, we draw up everything and we look at it. Now there's like 8 of us in the room, and we're looking at it. It looks great. Okay, we got that. We got this. We got everything. Looks great. And of course, we went back and started. We had 12 guys on the field. Of course, it was going to stop 11 guys, But that game was a game I'll never forget. We kicked a field goal. Ian Guberlet kicked a 36-yard field goal with 9 seconds left in the game. Got it down to 6. Now we're up like 37-34 with 6 seconds left in the game. And we do a surprise onside, and we get the ball. Wow. And talk about the air. I looked over at CBA, and just they were done. It was it, But we were saying is, are we going to give them 1 play or are we going to give them 2 plays? If we kick off, you're going to give them 2 plays. If we do an onside and they get it, we're going to give them 1 play. So that was our thinking behind that, and that game I'll never ever. I mean,
what did the final? What did it end up?
37-34.
37-34.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, and of course, winning states. The first state game against Nyack. I mean, I'll never forget. A funny one with that, the game ends, we all run on the field with the kids, jump up. Newman jumps over the kid, and he had his ring on from last year. His ring came off.
Oh, boy.
He couldn't find it. We had to line the kids up. we just won our second one.
Anticlimactic.
Everybody's got to line up. And did you find the ring?
Yes. And love you, man. It was unbelievable. And all the kids lined up in the coaches. After a couple minutes, I mean, you're talking 50, 60 people. No. But that was it. Coach, what do you got?
Well, back when I was an assistant at Fairport, we had a game with McQuaid that sometimes is considered the greatest game ever played. And we pulled that one out. And then as a head coach, there are 2 games that stand up from the same year, 1997. In a regional game, we played Orchard Park out at UB in a blinding snowstorm where you could not see the other side of the field. You could only hear the people. And it was eerie. Wow. I mean, it was strange.
What year was that?
97.
I was coaching at Olympia. We played that game, the state game before yours, and I can verify they had portable lights.
Yeah.
They had the portable light, and you couldn't see or really hear anything.
No, you could just hear the noises. And, snow blowers clearing the field off. And, the story was that, Fairport's passing game will be shut down. Of course, we threw on the first down, the first play of the game for a touchdown, and that can shut all that noise down. Then the same year, of course, the state final game at the Dome against Troy, who was the defending champions, and we just played a great game, beat them 35-14 or something. Mm-hmm. It was just a great experience for the whole town, and we just played like the way drawn up. One of those nights.
Yep.
Sometimes that happens, sometimes it doesn't. But that was one certainly that'll. And I still see guys around. This is 27 years later, and they're talking about it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's
awesome. That's awesome.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So
Paul, how about you?
Well, I got 2 that come to mind. My first year as head coach of East, we get to the end of the season, and we're going to play Edison for the league championship. And they have a great running back, Jason Colson. I think you guys remember.
Yep,
Ended up signing and playing at West Virginia. We had a great running back ourselves, Taryn Usher. And the story of the game, both of these guys run for 300 yards each in that game. We jump them pretty good, and we're up 28-10 in the second half, and we're just trying to run and eat up clock. Well, we give the ball to our fullback. He fumbles. It's one of those that pops straight up. Who gets it? Jason Colson.
Wow.
Because nobody's going to catch him on our team.
No.
So now they're back in. They get a 2-point conversion. They score. They then score again. Now it's 30-24. We're up, and there's two brothers. Mike Taylor, who played for us, was a middle linebacker, and he played a fantastic game. He had 24 tackles in that game. And he had a brother, Chris, that was a great player for the Edison Tech Inventors. And, that was a big game. Who was going to have bragging rights for Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever.
Everything,
And we have the ball. We're trying to run out clock, and Chris Taylor makes some tackles from behind the line. We have to kick to them. So they get one more final drive. And they are moving the ball down the field. Colson's running real well. They get to probably our 10-yard line. And Jason Colson runs again. And Mike Taylor tackles him as he was doing all day. And now Jason Colson has a cramp.
Oh, jeez.
So now they bring out, the district trainer. And the Edison coaches are blocking the district trainer. We'll take care of it. We got it. We got it all under control. And Jason Colson goes out for a play, and we ended up with a couple sacks. And the end of the game, they throw a deep pass, and Mike Taylor, who played really well, intercepts the ball on the 1-yard line.
Wow.
And that was a great victory, and took a lot. I was exhausted. It was a fun one. And then we played in the semifinals one year in the sectionals. We're playing Rush Henrietta. Now, this would have been Werner Kleeman came back to coaching.
Yep.
He came back, and he did a fantastic job because they had not been – they had been very mediocre, and he gets them to the semis. And they have a cake. It would be for Werner's 100th victory had they won the game. And they open up. They're up 14-0 on us. They're running their wing tee, and we're trying to figure out. We're calling timeout. We got to read the guards, or when we got to go 6-man line. We had no answers, and we were doing absolutely nothing on offense. And it's late in the second quarter, and Jimmy Lumline says, let's try hook and ladder, and we actually do it to perfection, score a touchdown off it, and now it's 14-7 going in at halftime.
Yeah.
And we score in the second half. It ties it up. Now it goes to overtime. And I think the first overtime we score. Then we thought we held them, and they call us for a pass interference.
Oh, God.
So then they score. And we go to a second overtime. And what ended up happening is the Walker that his son is a receiver for Irondequoit right now.
Okay, yes.
He comes up with the game-winning sack in overtime to end it. Justin Walker makes the sack, and we win. What was it? It was 28-27 or whatever. They went for the two, and those were two exciting games. But when I saw that on the Democrat and Chronicle, the greatest game ever, I said that's always subject to who was playing or what. Everybody's own opinion on what the greatest.
Sounds to me, Paul, like you should have run hook and ladder more often.
Well, you know what? We really needed to get that into the playbook. That's where
bread and butter play.
That's where sometimes you're better lucky than good. I guess.
We ran that once against Irondequoit for a win.
Oh, did you?
End of the game. Yeah.
We had the coach from CBA,
Joe Casamento,
was at a clinic speaking, and we were there. And out of all the coaches' stories, he came up with two, and I want to throw them out real quick. The first one was they were playing a state championship game against I don't know who. The game was just a minute left, so he tells his quarterback, Joey, just go out and take a knee.
I think that was the game with New Rochelle.
Yes.
When
so the quarterback goes out and he's blue 18. Ref throws a delay game. So he's, Joey, come on, let's go. He's like, we want to get out of here. The game's over. All right, coach. Gets under the center. Same thing happens. Ref throws a flag. So now he's like, now I feel like a jerk. I got to call a timeout. He calls a timeout. He goes out there. He's like, Joey, what are you doing? He's like, Coach. He goes, I told you to make sure, watch the clock, make sure the 25-second clock doesn't go out, and, take a knee, let's get out of here. He's like, Coach, the clock's not going to 0. He goes, what do you mean? He goes, look it. And they're pointing at the time and temperature clock.
Oh.
So then on the way home, they're driving, and they just won states, and they had the fire trucks at the entrance of school.
Oh, the escort.
And they're going underneath the fire, and the quarterback was sitting behind Cass, and Cass turned to the kid and says, isn't this unbelievable? Isn't this something that's unbelievable? And the kid goes, yeah, Coach, who would ever think the school's burning down the same night we won states? And he goes, that was our quarterback. So those were two, I'll never forget those. Those are awesome stories.
Those are great stories, and I think every coach that's ever has some ones like that. So it's that's what's
Stay
great
around long
about
enough.
this. Yeah,
Yep,
Just when you think you've seen it all, something else happens.
Yep. Well, Fairport, the Fairport U-Prep game.
Oh,
I mean, it's a tight game, and
well, first of all, it was 28-3 UPrep. And then McQuaid took the lead.
No, I'm talking
Fairport.
Fairport.
Oh, I'm thinking about UPrep.
No, where they bobbled the punt, and the kid,
Right.
that kid ran down the sideline like, oh my God, he looked like a Ferrari going down the street. It was just, oh my God. But on that, let me get this out too. I've been thinking about this. We were talking about this earlier. Please, if anybody is not sponsor, subscribe. Please subscribe. Like I said to Paul and Dave before we got on, we're up to around just a little under 3,000 views. So our views are excellent. Our subscribers are around 500. That's starting to come up little by little. Let's, just like I said, it's free. So just.
I'm sure with Paul back, the views will go way up now.
We'll see if they have any up or down.
You see that? You got the little bar that goes
right,
up. Yep.
Right.
We're gonna. Yep. I'm gonna definitely keep an eye on that next week. And then after that, well, next week is going to be our last week here at Premier. And right now, I'd like to thank Joe. He's over there doing some bills, it looks like, or something, for all his hospitality to us.
Very appreciative.
Yes, this is, and for, I don't know, it's one of you guys, somebody was saying about our background. The background, I wanted to show some of the Premier Sports that let people know that we are at Premier Sports. That's why you don't show just the banner. It's the banner.
Right here in Grease Town Mall.
Yep, Grease Ridge Mall. Mm-hmm. Coaches, how we doing?
Good.
Doing good?
Yeah.
One other thing that popped into my brain. I'd like to thank all the coaches this year that have sent me emails on your Player of the Week. I really, really do appreciate it, and I'm not just saying that. Some of the coaches, I mean, you guys were every week just giving us, every stat you had, which was awesome. And I just want to thank you for doing that for us and doing that for your players. Because that's how we pick them. Every player that is Player of the Week comes from a coach that nominates them. So that's the way we do that.
Next week should be a fun show. We'll have a sectional preview, league winners, and so on. So stay tuned.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Are we good?
We're good.
Okay. Ready?
Ready.
1, 2, 3.
Keeping it real, Section 5 football.
Good night. Everybody have a great night. Good evening, everybody. This is John Marola from Keeping It Real Section 5 football. And as you can see, I'm at Irondequoit High School. And I have our Week 1 winner whose episode, I have to apologize that we've talked about it off air, didn't come in. They had that glitch up at the mall, so we're going to redo it. He happens to be our Week 7 co-winner. And we're going to go over some of his stuff that he's been doing throughout the season. And Congratulations.
Thank you.
Appreciate you sitting down with me for a little bit and just doing this. So talk to me a little bit about your season. How's your season going? And what's going on from here?
So our season's actually going really well. We're 6-1. First 5 weeks we went undefeated. Then we had 8-point differential against Brighton was our only loss, and then last week we just won. So it's been going pretty well. We are trying to get as many wins as we can, trying to win our last game throughout the season. So we're all working really hard, working like actually extra hard now since the real part of the season's coming up. So everyone's pretty dialed in, I'd say.
Who's your last game this week coming up? Your last game's against?
It's against Gates. Yeah.
So that'll be a good game to finish up your regular season. And as we did talk a little bit about off air a little bit was, after next week, the real football starts. Because now it's the old saying, you win or go home. Mm-hmm. So how are you guys? Now this right here is a Sunday night. We're up at Irondequoit, and you guys are practicing. So this is the time of year where things get real, get very real. And what are your thoughts going into the sectionals?
Our thoughts are, all of our thoughts are very positive, very open-minded. We want to win as many games as we can, all of them. So we all doing whatever it takes to be able to hold not just the brick, but be able to have a ring by the end of the season. So we're all really, really working really hard.
Talk to me a little bit about your Churchville game. Give me your stats.
I had 260 yards on 16 carries, 3 rushing touchdowns, 10 tackles, 1 80-yard pick six, and yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, that's about. Actually, I watched your Churchville game on Huddle, and you had one hell of a game. I mean, your year has been very good. I think you're one of the premier players in Section 5. And I know you had a visit. You went up and had a college visit last week, was it? Over at
University of Buffalo.
How'd that go for you?
It went really well. I loved it there.
Talk to me a little bit about, let people know about as far as when you go, was that an official visit or unofficial?
I think it was unofficial, I want to say, but they asked me to come out. I was more than happy to. It was really great opportunity, experience. I went with a couple kids from our team. We were able to see what it's like to be in college, what it's like to watch college ball. It was really great.
That gets you set for your future, and it's very exciting when you get to that level of football, if it's UB or Alabama or anywhere in between. I mean, it's a phenomenal time of your life, and just the experience of just doing stuff like that is just going to be just beneficial to you as your future goes on. What are your thoughts as far as studying, as far as school? What are you looking to get into?
I want to get into marketing, like a business aspect. So I'm taking as many business classes as I can now to start early, get an understanding of what it's going to be like, and get like a jump start on it. Good, very good.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about sectionals, because I've been going through it, and there is, I consider in Class A, there's 5 teams in Class A that, you guys are all, like, there's not that much of a difference. So what do you think you guys need to do to get to that brick?
I'd say work hard in practice and in school, because in school we're student athletes, so class and grades come before sports. So it's very important to get your grades up, because if one person can't play because their grades are bad, then it affects like the whole team. So I'd say get your grades up, work hard in school and out of school. So, that's the school aspect.
Yes, that's very important. And I had a saying. I was talking now. Coach Victor and I have known each other for. I've known all your coaches forever. Actually, Coach Battaglia is my brother-in-law.
Oh, yeah,
You didn't know that. So, and Coach Anacino, when he was in high school, I was his coach.
That's great.
So, there's a lot of, and Coach Victor and I coached together with Coach G.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of similarities together. one saying, you never met the man, was my father. My father coached football for 42 years, and he'd come up with all these sayings, and he had this one saying, and I told Coach Fichter this tonight, and this is something I want you to have in your head and maybe in your teammates' heads too. My dad used to say, you're never as bad as you think you are, and you're never as good as you think you are. You got to keep that that even, and you are that person. You bring when I noticed your game, I did the Brighton game here, and that was a great game for you guys, but you were always positive during that game. You were always getting your teammates, to forget about that play. Let's get to good, bad, or whatever. You're always looking and going to the next play. And that's what a leader does, and that's what captains do. And hello, everybody. We're back on. We just had a jet fly over the top of us, so we just paused it for a minute. So now we're back talking to Cam here a little bit about sectionals and everything. This time of year, this is, like I said, this is for real. This football. After next week, it's like we said, it's either win or go home. So I know that your guys won loss. We were here a couple weeks ago for that against Brighton. And I know that it would be a perfect if you guys seen each other in like the sectionals or the finals or something like that. How do you feel with that?
I'd love to get a crack at them again. It was we all know it's going to be a hard game. It was a hard game, 0-0 going to halftime. So I would just love to play them again because that loss, it really does something to the team that really had their drive going. It was just a hard loss for us, but I'd love to play them again, get this time a win against them. And last year they ended our season, so there's just a lot of stuff behind it, a lot of stuff behind Brighton versus Irondequoit past few years. So I'd love to play them again.
They seem to come on the scene a little bit more. After the game, I was standing right about here after the game when you guys were shaking hands, and I could tell you something, and I've talked to other people about it. Brighton this year, and along with you guys, they have a little swag about them, which is not bad, if you keep it in check. You know what I'm saying? You guys have that too, but that's a fine line. And I know to keep that even teal going with it. But I was very surprised it was 0-0 at halftime. I thought, both teams offensively just put up, you guys put up big points throughout the season. I'll tell you, wherever you play the finals at, you're definitely going to pack in the place because that's going to be one game. And the game here that night, it was pretty packed too. So on that note, this is going to be out Thursday. Cam now is our week 1 winner, which I said that, that we had the glitch up at Premier Sports and it didn't come out. So it kind of worked out good. I mean, you had yourself one great game last week against Churchville. I mean, offensively, your stats, and then the pick 6, 80 yards. I mean, that's a complete game and that I've seen. I just want to wish you guys the best of luck, and I know we'll be following you guys as we go on. And just go out and do what you do. Like people say, you be you.
Yep.
All right. So I want to congratulate you and everything. So at the end now, remember what we're going to do. Go 1, 2, 3, and then okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Keeping it real. Section 5 football.
Good night, everybody. Have a great night.
Have you ever felt?
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Have you ever